From familiar faces to big success, this is Adam Sandler's Murder Mystery 2 Ending Explained. The first Murder Mystery movie was a huge success for Netflix. In fact, it was Netflix's most watched film when it debuted in 2019. People love the crime comedy that tells the story of a vacationing couple who find themselves caught up in a web of murder. Now, the crew is back. Well, some of them are, for Murder Mystery 2. Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston reprised their roles as Nick and Audrey Spitz, a husband and wife private investigation team set 4 years after the first murder mystery film in Monte Carlo. This time, the Spitzes are full-time detectives traveling to a private island to unravel yet another mystery. Sandler and Aniston are joined by 3 returning characters and 10 new faces, including Colonel Ulenga, played by John Candy, who reprises his role as the Maharaja's bodyguard. He's an old face, but his character has a new twist. In the original film, he's missing a hand, but this time around, he's lost his entire left arm. The Colonel explains that he was shot in his arm while defending the Maharaja, and it had to be amputated. I'd be looking for a big raise after that. Obviously, Vikram the Maharaja Govindan is back in Murder Mystery 2, played by Adil Akhtar. Vikram's a central character in the film, and it's his own private island that Nick and Audrey are invited to as guests at his wedding. And surprise, surprise, things go completely off the rails when Vikram's abducted. Another actor to reprise their role in the sequel is Danny Boone, who plays Inspector Delacroix, doing whatever he can to not solve another crime. And once again, he succeeds at being unsuccessful. And the characters making their first appearances certainly want to be more successful than Boone's character. Actor Mark Strong joins the cast playing former MI6 hostage negotiator Connor Miller. Melanie Laurent plays Claudette, the Maharaja's fiancée, and you might recognize her as Shosanna from the 2009 Quentin Tarantino film Inglourious Basterds. Actor Jodie Turner-Smith plays Countess Seku, and Jodie's best known for playing the lead role in AMC's Anne Boleyn. In Murder Mystery 2, the Countess becomes a suspect in Vikram's disappearance, along with other party guests including Imani, a character played by Zurin Villanueva, and party attendee Francisco, Vikram's business partner, played by Enrique Arce, ends up as yet another suspect. The cast is rounded out by Kahu Verma, who plays Syra, the Maharaja's sister. Verma might look familiar to fans who've seen The Big Sick, and Adil Akhtar also played in the 2017 Love Story. We can't forget Jillian Bell, who plays Susan, a woman looking for her long-lost love, and Tony Goldwyn, who plays Silver Fox, alongside Annie Momolo's Mrs. Silver Fox. Nick and Audrey assume Mr. Silver Fox is cheating on her. Other cast members include Larry Myo Leong as the Maharaja's new bodyguard, Mr. Liu, and popular telenovela star Carlos Ponce plays the helicopter pilot who mispronounces Nick and Audrey's last name. After Nick and Audrey accept an invitation to attend Vikram's wedding on his private island, they hope their friendship with him will boost their credibility, since their fledgling PI agency is failing. The Spitzes meet Vikram's fiancée, Claudette, his business partner, Francisco, his former fiancée, Countess Seku, his sister, Syra, and the now one-armed Colonel Ulenga. During the wedding, Audrey notices a shady figure following Vic's elephant, and then Lou's dead body falls from the elephant. Weird. Always on the ball, well, sort of. Nick suspects that it's a diversion and sees an unknown person abduct Vic. And here we go again. The Spitzes soon figure out that they're now part of a conspiracy and know at least 2 people are involved. One created a distraction and the other did the kidnapping. The following day, a team of professional detectives come to help them, and former MI6 hostage negotiator Connor Miller's one of them. The team gets a phone call from the kidnapper demanding that a $70 million ransom be delivered to the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. Do that, and they'll get Vikram back. So Miller, Nick, and Audrey go to Paris and get to the exchange point, but the kidnappers force them into a van at gunpoint. The couple fights them off, and the van crashes into Cafe Procope. The kidnappers are killed, and the Spitzes clue into the fact that someone's trying to frame them. When a video surfaces of Nick waving a knife as he runs out of the tent, Miller arrives and lets everyone know that the video's definitely a fake. After Miller takes the money, he asks Nick and Audrey to meet him at the La Madeleine, but after being blown up in his car, Miller's assumed dead, and an unknown figure takes the briefcase, only to lose it when he's hit by a truck. Ouch! Now enter Inspector Laurent Delacroix, He helps Nick and Audrey track the truck to a countryside chateau, and after arriving, Sekou and Imani ambush them and hold them at gunpoint. They say they're not the kidnappers and only want the money. Show them the money! Sekou shoots Imani, attempts to kill the Spitzes, but Imani saves the day and kills her. Karma's a bitch. Nick and Audrey flee, call Delacroix and the rest of the crew. Claudette, Syra, Francisco, and the Maharaja's one-armed former bodyguard, Colonel Ulenga. They met at the Eiffel Tower's Les Jules Verne restaurant and request that Vic be taken there. Vic is delivered, but he's wearing a bomb vest. Oops! Nick assumes that the murderer wouldn't risk not being paid, and he was right. The bomb's countdown is stopped, and Miller, who masterminded the whole thing, reappears. And it turns out that he faked his death, hiding in a titanium chamber inside the car to survive the explosion. At this point, Miller's looking for revenge and tries to kill everyone. Audrey hangs from a harness and is lifted all the way to the top floor as Nick heads up to the roof, punching any bad guys that get in his way with Francisco's help. They take out Miller's men, and Audrey tries to wrestle the detonator away from Miller, but she can't. So she grabs the suitcase and threatens to throw it from the tower. Nick finally arrives on the scene, putting his terrible aim on display, and fires at Miller with 2 guns, and of course, fails to connect. Come on, Nick! He does manage to destroy the bomb detonator though, and tackles Miller, but not before Miller throws Audrey off the tower. Luckily, she's still attached to the harness, and Nick and Miller fight it out fist to fist, until Nick eventually opens the briefcase, and all that ransom money blows away in the wind. Back to try to help Nick, Audrey returns with a gun, tries to shoot Miller, but shoots Nick instead. Oh boy. Without anyone seeing her, Audrey's able to tie Miller's harness to the elevator on the tower, and he's thrown into the spinning helicopter blades, his own getaway vehicle. How ironic. And it explodes and crashes into the Seine River. After getting back to the restaurant, Audrey thinks she sees blood on Syra's hand, but Syra claims it was just her henna tattoo that smeared. Audrey remembers that Syra wasn't around when Vic's elephant was brought to the reception, and she remembers that the mystery figure who killed Lou also had the same wet henna stain on their clothing. It's revealed that Syra, Vic's own sister, was the second conspirator. Why? Well, she was mad that Vic's parents gave him sole ownership of the business. Syra's previous attempt to kill Vic in Mumbai were uncovered, and she tries to kill Vic again, but Colonel Ulenga blocks her attempt, and Claudette clubs her, knocking her out with the briefcase. When the dust settled, Vic and Claudette decided against more wedding plans. No doubt, they decided to elope instead. As a final show of gratitude, they gave Nick and Audrey $10 million. Yes, please! The Spitzes used the money to take a honeymoon in Greece. However, on the way there, the helicopter pilot threatens them at gunpoint, demanding that they give up the money. He grabs the money and jumps out of the chopper, leaving the couple to try and fly the chopper by themselves. So, what happened? Well, it turns out the pilot simply went rogue when given the chance to get paid. He loses the fake accent, sounds like a guy from New Jersey, and his con game is exposed, which lays the groundwork for a potential third film. Fans will no doubt be waiting for it, although nothing's been announced yet. Murder Mystery 2 enjoyed the second biggest opening weekend of any Netflix comedy film, and was watched 42 million times during its opening weekend. So from big success to familiar faces, that was Adam Sandler's Murder Mystery 2 ending explained.